Hello and welcome back to the channel and welcome to the first video in our F1 in Schools series. In case you're unfamiliar with F1 in Schools, it's a global STEM challenge that inspires students aged 9 to 19 to design, build and race compressed air powered cars. Um, Now, the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to look at the first set of rules, which is something called the no-go zone. Now, the no-go zone is a specified area within the car that participants must adhere to when creating their vehicles. Um, the maximum dimensions of the car in question is going to be 230 by 60 by 50 high. And the no-go zone is designed to ensure that the car meets the minimum structural requirements while still allowing room for creativity. So what that effectively means is that when you make your no-go zone, you can build around that or upon it, but you can't cut into it or remove things from this space. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start a sketch on the top plane. Um, and then we're going to go ahead and click sketch. Click the top plane if you've not already done so, so your sketch tools become active. Now I'm going to go across to the rectangle. Now I'm going to click the drop down and click center point rectangle because I'm going to need this car centered across the front or right plane, ideally the front plane, although it doesn't really matter. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw um, a single rectangle. Um, from this, from the bottom of the rectangle, I'm going to draw diagonally out. And then I'm going to come back in and it's going to make one of the wings or the side pods. And you can see there, I'm automatically snapped to my original line, my original extension, which is what I want. So I can see that yellow dotted line, I'm snapped to it. I'm going to click there. Ooh, I'm just going to move straight down again and move it 90 degrees into the middle there. Okay, and then press escape. This is the basic shape of my car. And we're going to add some dimensions to it in a second. What we're going to do first is I'm just going to go ahead and mirror this section over against the right plane. So I'm going to go up and click mirror. I'm going to click 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, we're not. Control Z that. I'm going to click mirror. I'm going to click my mirror plane, which is the right plane here, this line down the middle. This is why it's really useful to be across that middle plane. That will be super important later on. I'm going to click 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. And you'll see now I've got a closed shape, well, two closed shapes with that line going through the middle. First thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some dimensions. So this back section is going to be 60 long and 29 wide. 29 is going to be the width of all this narrow section here. This section at the end, that's going to be 40. So I'm just going to go into my dimension mode. If you don't know how to go into the dimension mode, you can either press the letter D and that will toggle the dimension tool off, or you can click this tool here. If you look, if I press D now, it toggles it on and off and I get those crosshairs. So I'm going to click on make sure my dimension tool is selected, click on this line, move my cursor out, and then click once more to drop it. And you'll see then I can type my dimension in. And the final dimension I'm going to make at the minute is going to be second to last dimension I'm going to make at the minute is going to be the distance from this point to this line here. Now, when people put this dimension on, what they sometimes do is they grab this line and put the dimension on there. You're going to get that wrong because that's going to give you a slightly larger dimension that you actually want. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So if I grab this point and grab this line, what I'm able to do is pull out a dimension that's laterally between those points. That means it pulls out exactly horizontally. And I'm going to set that to 40. Now, difference is if I grab this line, which you're probably aware by theory of triangles, this is the hypotenuse of the would-be triangle. It's a bit large, it's a bit longer, it's 43. So you want to make sure that your dimension is pulling out all the way to the side from that point there to this line here and isn't the length of the line. The one other dimension you're going to do is you're going to put a dimension between this outer point and this outer point. These are extreme lateral nodes, and that is going to be 50. Okay, we're ready to extrude now. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim this line away so I can extrude the full thing. I'm going to click this tool here, and it's going to default to 25. I'm just going to set that to 15. And believe it or not, we're almost there. The only thing left to do is put an extrude on this. So I've already gone 15 up. My total height of this is going to be 43.5. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a corner to corner rectangle just over this section. And I've already gone up 15. So I can either do a sum or I can get OnShape to work this out for me. I'm going to press extrude. So I've just got this bit picking up like this. Now I want the full thing to be 43.5. I've already built 15 of it. See, we sketch on the top surface. So we're pulling up from that already, that surface, that elevation of 15 that I've already made. All I'm going to type in here is 43.5 minus 15. And it should work it straight out for me. Click the tick, and now if we check, if I click on this line here, it should say in this bottom corner the exact length of that line. Perfect. Okay, all that's left to do is to put some fillets on, put a hole in, and put some grooves down the middle. So I'm going to grab my fillet tool, which is this one. Just the first block on the first one on the second block. I'm going to select that corner and that corner. I want this to be a full arch. Now, what that means is that the radius of these corners must be exactly half the width. So that's half of 29. And again, I'm too lazy to work that out. So I'm just going to type in 29 / 2. So 29 divided by 2. And there you have it. The only other thing, the next thing I'm going to, I say the only other thing, there's two more things I need to do. First one is I need to draw a barrel chamber in here. This is going to be where I'm going to put the CO2 capsule. So I'm going to make a sketch on this back face. I'm going to grab my circle tool. Now, I want this to be exactly in the middle of this circle. So not on the edge. I want it to be what's called concentric. So I'm going to find my node at the bottom of this arc. It should snap. I'm going to draw my line centrally. And again, it should snap to the center of that arc, of that radius, of that circle. I'm going to pull up and I'm going to press D to go into my dimension mode. And I'm going to set the circle with a dimension of 18, which is the diameter, or about the diameter of a CO2 capsule. You might be wondering why we're dimensioning the circle at 18, whereas the bigger radius was 13. That's because OnShape measures fillets by radius, so that's halfway across the circle. And it measures full circles by diameter. That's the full way across the circle. So if you imagine this arc here, that's got a diameter of 29, but a radius of, I think it works out as 13.5. And now what we're going to do, we're going to do an extrude remove. So we've drawn our circle, we're going to click extrude. We're going to click remove, so you've got your top three headings up there. On the next row down, you've got new, add, remove. We're going to remove it, and we're going to set the default 25 to 52. Press enter, that looks about right. Even if it doesn't look right, I know it's right, so I'm going to click the tick. And the only thing left, that's where the CO2 cartridge is going to do. The only thing left, and I say it's actually now, this is the only thing left to do, is I need to put a groove in here or a recess. This is where the string's going to go, so the wire that keeps the car steady. You're going to have a hook on the bottom of your car that the string's going to go to. Otherwise, I have seen cars fly off and actually leave the track if they're not wired down. It helps the car steer straight as well. So there's a number of ways you can do this. I'm lazy, so I always think of the least number of steps I need. I'm going to do a center point rectangle from the origin. I'm just going to pull it out. And this needs to be this needs to be a square that's 6 mil by 6 mil. So I'm going to dimension my width 6 mil, height 12, so that I know half it's going to be beneath and half it's actually going to be cutting the material out. So I've actually got a box here, a square that is 6 by 6, and I'm just going to extrude that. I don't need to mess about fixing the overlap. That's not going to worry me. I'm just going to click remove again, pull it all the way through, and you've got your no-go zone. The only thing left to do is the mount for the halo, which is going to be in the next video. It's a little bit, I don't think it's more complicated. It's got a few extra tools to it, so we're going to leave it there for today. The one thing I will say as I leave you, when designing your car, and we'll get to this and you'll see what I mean by this, you will probably put extrudes through both these grooves we've just put out. So you'll put material through this just in the way OnShape works. It won't reserve this shape for you. It won't hold the shape. If you put an extrude through the car, if you put a profile through there, it will just fill these gaps out. And we are going to be doing a fair bit of that. Don't worry, the last thing we're going to do with the car is we're just going to recut those. So if you go into those areas, don't worry, we're going to make sure at the end we cut those out. Okay, that's about it, folks. Thank you for listening, and I hope I've been some help. Drop me a comment if you like, and if you want to share your cars with me, let me know, and we'll have a look. Thank you.